So I wanted to record this because there's so many people that have kids with a narcissist, but they are afraid to leave because of the circumstances, because of the situation, financial situation, just the stability of the children. And a lot of times it's women that is contacting me. Let's just be honest, it's about 100% women that is contacting me about, having struggles on leaving this individual simply because they have kids and they are also dependent on this narcissist. One of the things I like to tell them is that it is possible to leave this individual even if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 children. You're not stuck. But you do need a plan in place, and because you can't just leave, because it's not just like by yourself, like you're actually leaving with children. So you want to make sure you have something set up. One of the things you're going to want to make sure that you have set up is to make sure that there's some type of bank account separate from the persons that you're with, and also make sure it's on a different side of town so that when you're dropping money off in this bank account, guess what, they're not going to run into you. The second thing you want to make sure that you have ready is already be looking for a place. Rather, if this is a 1-bedroom studio, 2 bedrooms, and then all of your children share, or just a 1-bedroom and you just set up your living room as a bedroom. No one's judging you, because guess what? It is better to be mentally, emotionally, and physically stable than to be stuck with someone where you're not. Your children will appreciate you later. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have a time and a date ready for your move, okay? This also may require for you to have somebody that is there to help you on this move, or if you don't have help, then you want to make sure that this individual is either like out of town, this individual is at work, so that you can be able to have an easy and smooth transition on leaving. The next thing I like to tell people is to make sure you're not leaving on an emotional high, meaning you and this narcissist has just got into it and now you're trying to leave. Because 9 times out of 10, because you did not plan properly, you're going to more than likely bring you and your children back, which is the worst thing you can do, because your children is also experiencing the withdrawal from this narcissist. The next thing you're going to want to include in this plan to leaving is making sure that you have found yourself some type of an attorney. If you don't have the money, the funds to pay for an attorney, then you need to be looking out for the resources of the free public services that they have. Tell them your situation, and more likely you will get approved for that, especially if you're not married to the person. This way you can already have your questions already written out so that you can talk to this attorney, talk to them about your desires, talk to them about your fears, and ask them what is the possible solution for your situation. The next thing I'm going to say is you need to make sure that you're making some plans on saving some money, which is why you created that bank account. Even if you're working and you're only able to put $10, $15, $20 in there every single paycheck, at least by the time that you leave, because you have children with them, at least it's something better than nothing. The next thing I'm going to say is be okay with having very little in your home and only the things that is necessary, such as the beds, such as your toiletry, just little things that you know that you're going to need to live. Don't be so set up on, oh, I need to make sure I have a couch, I need to make sure I have all of these different things, because that will actually keep you stagnant and staying in this relationship longer. Now, there are some people who only have like maybe 1 child with this individual, so some of them have picked a family member to stay with for about a 6-month period of time. I had this one woman who had about, I think it was 3 children, and she stayed at her uncle's house for about 6 to 7 months. She got herself a decent job, and then she eventually got herself a home, all before the year was up. So it is possible. The next thing I'm going to tell you is that you need to be dependent on God 100%, because God will make a way when you leave this narcissist, especially if he's leading you to leave. Then guess what? He will open up doors. He will open up favor. You will be like, how did this happen? And it's all because you stepped out on obedience and leaving this person who was no good for you or your children. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is make sure you're in some type of faith-based group, or some type of group that's going to help you along the way as you take this leap of faith in this journey of leaving this narcissist, so that you're not just leaving and dealing with the depression, the stress, the anxieties, the fears, and isolating yourself, because I'm here to tell you that that's the worst thing that you could do in the situation of leaving this narcissist. Another thing you're going to want to make sure is you're allowing your children to express themselves concerning the situation, because again, like I mentioned before, they're also going through this. So set times and days aside to talk to each individual child alone so that they can express themselves, as well as get them some help as well. You're not the only one that needs the spiritual counseling, but they need it as well. The last thing that I'm going to share is to remind yourself that this is a spiritual matter. I want you to read Ephesians 6 and realize that you are not fighting against flesh and blood, but what you're fighting is against the principalities, the spirits, which is the demonic spirits that you're fighting. So everything that you're feeling, you have to be freed from. Everything that they're throwing at you in the moment of your leaving, you have to understand that these are demons and devils that want to keep you tied and entangled with this individual so that you never become the person that God wants you to be. Go ahead and follow for more advice and information. Be blessed. And I almost forgot to mention that I have a book called The Exit Plan. So everything that I just told you is in the book, and there's so many more other things that's in there that's going to help you while you're leaving this narcissist, and not just help you, but help you to stay gone from this narcissist and make the proper planning. Be blessed.